What is a trend? Today we're gonna continue our technical analysis basic education. And my friends, yes, you can find all of this information at investopedia.com. And Corey Mitchell defines a trend is the overall direction of a market or an asset's price. In technical analysis, trends are identified by trend line or price action that highlight when the price is making higher swing highs and higher swing lows for an uptrend, or lower swing lows and lower swing highs for a downtrend. How trends work, David? Well, traders can identify a trend using various forms of technical analysis, including trend lines, price action, and technical indicators. For example, trend lines might show the direction of a trend, while the Relative Strength Index, or RSI, is designed to show the strength of a trend at any given point in time. What is a trend line? Well, Investopedia.com, James Shen, defines trend lines are easily recognizable lines that traders draw on charts that connect a series of prices together or show some data's best fit. The resulting line is when used to give the trader a good idea of the direction in which an investment's value might move. Key takeaways. Trend lines indicate the best fit of some data using a single line or curve. A single trend line can be applied to a chart to give a clearer picture of the trend. Trend lines can be applied to the highs and the lows to create a channel, and the time period being analyzed and the exact points used to create a trend line vary from trader to trader. Using trend lines. A common way to identify trends is using trend lines, which connect a series of highs, downtrend, or lows, uptrend. Uptrends connect a series of higher lows, creating a support level for future price movement. Downtrends connect a series of lower highs, creating a resistance level for future price movement. In addition to support and resistance, these trend lines show the overall direction of the trend. While trend lines do a good job of showing overall direction, they will often need to be redrawn. For example, during an uptrend, the price may fall below the trend line, yet this doesn't necessarily mean the trend is over. The price may move below the trend line and then continue rising. In such an event, the trend line may need to be redrawn to reflect the new price action. Trend lines should not be relied on exclusively to determine the trend. Most professionals also tend to look at price action and other technical indicators to help determine if a trend is ending or not. What do trend lines tell you? The trend line is among the most important tools used by technical analysts. Instead of looking at past business performance or other fundamentals, technical analysts look for trends in price action. A trend line helps technical analysts determine the current direction in market prices. Technical analysts believe the trend is your friend, and identifying this trend is the first step in the process of making a good trade. To create a trend line, an analyst must have at least 2 points on a price chart. Some analysts like to use different time frames such as 1 minute or 5 minutes. Other looks at the daily charts or weekly charts. Some analysts put aside time altogether, choosing to view trends based on tick intervals rather than intervals of time. What makes trend lines so universal in usage and appeal is they can be used to help identify trends regardless of the time period, time frame, or interval use. If the company A is trading at $35 and moves to $40 in 2 days and $45 in 3 days, the analyst has 3 points to plot on a chart, starting at 35 and then moving to 45. If the analyst draws a line between all 3 price points, they have an upward trend. The trend line drawn has a positive slope and is therefore telling the analyst to buy in the direction of the trend. If company A's price goes from $35 to $25, however, the trend line has a negative slope and the analyst should sell in the direction of the trend. Limitations of a trend line. Trend lines have limitations shared by all charting tools, is that they have to be readjusted as more price data comes in. A trend line will sometimes last for a long time, but eventually the price action will deviate enough that it needs to be updated. Moreover, traders often choose different data points to connect. For example, some traders will use the lowest lows, while others may only use the lowest closing prices for a period. Last Trend lines applied on smaller time frames can be volume sensitive. A trend line formed on low volume may easily be broken as volume picks up throughout a session. Example using a trend line. Trend lines are relatively easy to use. A trader simply has to chart the price data normally using open, close, high, and low. Below is data for the Russell 2000 in a candlestick chart with a trend line applied to the 3 session lows over a 2-month period. You can see that the trend line has been drawn from every time it creates a higher low. See that? You have to do it on your charts so you start noticing it. That's what I will suggest. Go to tradingview.com or any platform that you're able to use some drawing tools and start doing them. Bam, 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 and you'll notice them. And I did want to check out a few examples that we can see as live examples. Let me go to TradingView. We're going to be able to identify a lot of trends. Especially over here in Facebook. Facebook has been a very, very good one. Small trend here. Uptrend. You are able to identify downtrends. And this is all in the monthly, okay? And you can see this in many different markets, okay? You can see trend lines even on crypto market. When I started investing in Ethereum, I saw the uptrends being very, very good. You can see the downtrends obviously here too. Downtrends. You can even do it on the forex market. See, downtrend here. Can even extend it more. See this uptrend. More uptrends. See that? And downtrend here. You see this all over the place, guys. And then when they say that the price is not creating any patterns, which is basically saying sideways, is consolidation. That's the consolidation they talk about. No sense of direction. It happens all the time. I wanted to show you Apple because Apple is such a beautiful one with this topic. I like the trends that Apple does. You can see that Apple has a lot of downtrends and uptrends that it starts to break. So you're able to identify from the top to the next high, which is kind of like the lower high, okay? And then you match it to the next lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. It breaks the trend line, and that's where I start to think about this is changing trends. And I could have drawn from over here, this trend line, you see it's still going up. It did go down because it went back down to the it broke the minor trend line and went back to the major trend line. It just respected that, continued with the momentum. And like it says in the article, you don't have to rely 100% on this, but definitely provides clarity and perspective of where price can go for the short term and the long term. And the other thing that I've learned a lot from trend lines is that it provides us a range. For example, my friends, when we did the analysis for Apple, right? Apple had a high of 145 and it went back down. You can see that there was a downtrend. It broke this trend line, it started to go down, and that's where this trend line became so important for me, because when I saw this, I was thinking this is an opportunity of about 20%, almost 20%, right? And that, in my perspective, is a good investment. We understood that there's gonna be some issues along the way. You can see the resistance level here showing us that yes, and it created another downtrend. The downtrend and the uptrend created a flag. So that flag needed to be broken. Apple did amazing over here. A perfect structure, I will say. For example, I'm keeping an eye on Alibaba because Alibaba is looking to me like he wants to break a trend line soon. See this? This is what I want to see. A break of a trend line. Able to identify Alibaba. Uptrends. See that? Then he broke this trend line and he went down. So you're able to identify trend lines all over the place. Thank you all. And as always, have a beautiful rest of your day.